When Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently declared, "Chips or ships, they must be made in India," it wasn't just a catchy slogan. It was a roadmap for self-reliance, economic strength, and strategic independence in a rapidly changing world. Let's break it down. What is the bigger picture? We live in a world where two industries drive the future: semiconductors, the tiny chips that power everything from your smartphone to fighter jets; shipping and shipbuilding, the massive vessels that move nearly 90% of world trade across oceans. India cannot afford to be dependent on others for either. Right now, the global semiconductor market is dominated by a handful of countries. Taiwan, South Korea, the US, and China control most of the production. India, despite being an IT superpower, imports almost all of its chips. And here's the problem. When global supply chains get disrupted, India suffers. We saw it during the pandemic. Car production slowed, electronics prices soared, and even defense manufacturing faced hurdles. That's why India is now pushing for a semiconductor ecosystem. With government subsidies, partnerships with global giants, and training for engineers, the idea is to manufacture and design chips within India's borders. This will not only reduce imports, but also create high-value jobs and position India as a tech leader. On the other end of the spectrum are ships. Despite being a nation with one of the longest coastlines in the world, India depends heavily on foreign vessels to carry its trade. Imagine this: almost 2/3 of India's cargo is transported on foreign-owned ships. That means billions of dollars leave our economy every year just to pay freight charges abroad. The new maritime push, backed by schemes worth 70,000 crore rupees, aims to change that. By building ships in Indian shipyards, modernizing ports, and creating jobs in logistics and seafaring, India wants to reclaim its historic maritime power. How the tariff affects India. Now let's talk about tariffs, the hidden cost in this story. When India imports chips or relies on foreign ships, tariffs and duties make these imports more expensive. For semiconductors, the high import bill raises the cost of electronics, cars, and even household appliances. For shipping, foreign freight rates plus duties increase the cost of raw materials and exports, making Indian goods less competitive in global markets. On the flip side, when India builds its own chips and ships, two things happen. Tariff pressure reduces because reliance on imports falls. Exports become more competitive, since local manufacturing lowers costs. This is why self-reliance in chips and ships directly impacts inflation, consumer prices, and India's trade balance. What are the opportunities ahead? For chips, India can become a global hub for chip design and manufacturing, attracting billions in foreign investment while securing supply for domestic needs. For ships, India can not only serve its own trade, but also build vessels for other nations, turning shipyards into global export centers. What are the challenges for India? Of course, this journey won't be easy. Chip manufacturing needs enormous investment and advanced technology. Shipbuilding requires global-scale infrastructure and skilled manpower, and tariffs, if not managed smartly, can still distort competitiveness. But with political will, strategic investments, and partnerships, India can overcome these hurdles. Let's discuss the vision ahead. So when Modi says chips or ships, they must be made in India, it's more than a slogan. It's a call to action. It's about making sure India's economy is not at the mercy of global supply chain disruptions. It's about keeping jobs and wealth within our borders. It's about turning India from a buyer to a builder, from a dependent player to a global leader. Whether it's the silicon chip in your phone or the cargo ship at the port, the message is clear. India must make its own future. Chips or ships, the wave of self-reliance has begun, and India is determined to sail and soar on its own terms.